I can't make a tincture out of cedar. Mullein would work perfect. Mullein would work perfect. I was going to go forage, but it's a really bad time of the year to find anything but plantain. So, all right. So, what I brought was an antiviral to. I don't know what I'm doing. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Okay. So I brought an antiviral, and I'm going to explain how for you guys to make your own ivermectin. Will that work? I just figured everybody here is probably a pretty good group to work that one with. And it's simple. It's really simple. Okay, so he's going to bring me mullein. I'm going to show you how to make a tincture, but I'm going to tell you what to put in it to make an ivermectin. Okay, and once it's in this stage and you drain it, know that if you use an alcohol base, it's good for 5 years, or until it just evaporates out into a sludge, which usually takes about 5 years. It can't go bad. All right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. If you're trying to make what would be called a 30C, okay, which would mean it's 30 times. So anytime you're talking about strength with a tincture, it's compared to a tea. Okay, so if I made a cup of tea, that's considered a one and done. Anytime you extract, what do you got? Oh, you got red clover. Okay, and mullein. Oh, you guys are freaking awesome. Okay. Now I bet I got to explain what red clover does. So all the ladies in the group, this is good for menopause. This is your friend. Mullein is an expectorant. I'm sure I shouldn't say that. Mullein is an expectorant. The leaves are really good for coughs, chest, lungs. The flowers are good for pleurisy. The roots are good for pleurisy. Sometimes you'll hear mullein called the pleurisy plant, but it's mullein. Okay. You know what else I don't have? What am I missing, guys? What am I missing here? No, maybe a jar. Okay, so I won't have to use your herbs. So I'm just gonna tell you. So this is a half gallon, I think. Is this a half gallon? Okay, so it's a 750. 750 milliliter. Anyway, so you're going to pack these jars. And when I say pack, I mean take something and pack them down in there. Dry herbs. You only want to use dry herbs in a tincture so you don't get botulism. Okay? Dry herbs halfway. And you fill the rest of the jar up. This is my favorite right here. Is 100 proof McCormick. It's cheap and it's 100 proof. If it's roots or bark, you're going to want to use like Everclear. Or if you know somebody that makes moonshine, that's even better. I'm going to remember that. Okay, so when you use fresh, the only difference is your shelf life. Okay, because anytime you add moisture to anything, it can cause botulism. It's very unlikely that it would happen in alcohol or Everclear, especially moonshine. It won't happen. Because moonshine is like 190 proof or something. And so nothing can live in there. Anytime you get down under about 100 proof, it's like some people use brandy. I wouldn't. Like, unless you're making a syrup that you're going to use right then, I wouldn't, because brandy's only 80 proof. It doesn't kill off as much stuff. Yeah, McCormick, 100 proof. McCormick, the only one I have found that's 100 proof. And it's the cheapest vodka. So, I don't know. I like potatoes, so it's good. Yes, right. Okay, so you fill your jar halfway with herbs, okay? You're going to top it off. You're going to shake it really good, and you're going to let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then you'll notice that it's going to absorb your dry herb, and you're going to have to top it back off. Then all you're going to do for the next 6 weeks is shake this thing every day and keep it in a cool, dark spot, okay? After 6 weeks, Lily, you want to come help me? This is a cheesecloth. Does everybody know what a cheesecloth is? I recommend a tight-wove cheesecloth because otherwise you're going to get bits. And you'll get sludge in the bottom of your tinctures if you don't. Unless you want to use a vacuum thing, and then that's ridiculous to me. That just takes all the fun out of it. All right. After 6 weeks, you're going to pop this thing open. And can you just start pouring that in there for me? Just be careful. So in this, has everybody got their pens, their paper, their phones, whatever? So this has fennel seed, star anise, soursop, which is also graviola. Some people call it soursop. Some people call it graviola. Technically, soursop is the fruit. Graviola is the aerial green parts, but it's all the same thing. I use the green part for this. Okay, the fruit has better uses for other things. So in here this is fennel. See these little things that look like little maggots? That's fennel. And then you've seen the stars, the star anise, right? And then I also have sweet gum seeds in here. So I don't know if any of you brought me sweet gum seeds this year, but you're awesome. I had a deal where if you brought me a bucket, you got a credit in the store. I gave you cash because I didn't have time to go harvest sweet gums. Sweet gum seeds have a ridiculous amount of ischemic acid in them. Ischemic acid is the main ingredient in Tamiflu. So when you mix it with star anise and fennel, you get about a 42 to a 43% ischemic acid out of it, and there ain't a virus that can live through that. There's just not. Well, let me rephrase that. Outside of hepatitis C, there's not a virus that can handle, like, it literally stops the replication of the virus. So the key with stuff like this is as soon as you go, oh, I wonder if I'm getting sick. That's when you want that, because then your cold will never get any worse than it is right there, and it'll shorten the length of the cold. That's why they want you to take Tamiflu for the first 20 days? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. So I do 1-for-1 for all of them but the star anise, because star anise breaks up into 6 pieces. You know what I mean? So it kind of, once you mash it up a little bit, it goes further. But it's sweet gum seeds, so spikenard seeds. Most of you guys know them as sweet gums. Fennel seed. What else did I say? Fennel. Oh, wait, I just said fennel, didn't I? Graviola. Yeah, soursop. Yeah, soursop or graviola, whichever one you want to call it. And then star anise. And you don't have to put all 4 of those ingredients in there. You could literally do star anise and sweet gum seed, and you'd be good. Or star anise and fennel, and you'd be good. It's just, I like to make mine really strong. So who was it that was asking? Who's that lady right there in the hat? So this is where we're going to talk about how to make it from a cup of tea strength into a 30C. Which is, just so you guys know, you don't ever want to make anything stronger than a 30C, because you're just going to aggravate your guts, because then it's just too strong. Okay? What? Okay, well, patience, young man. Patience. So to make a 30C tincture, you would then we just drained all the good out of this, okay? Then we would take that juice, put it back in a jar, and add more fresh herb to it, okay? Once you've done that twice, it's considered a 30C, which means it's 30 times stronger than a cup of tea. One time is actually a 10C. So it's just, it'll drain right here, like just by itself. But can you go set this over on the concrete, this little basket? Thank you, baby. Then it becomes a 30C. The only thing I ever run more than twice is like mullein, because sometimes when we get into that respiratory part of this cold and flu season, it just works better. It just works better. And if you put it in like your coffee in the morning or something else besides just taking it, it doesn't have an aggravating effect. But mullein is about the only one that I'll do more than a 30C. And then just so you know, once you've done that 3 times, it's then 100C. Okay? Yes. No, but that's chemistry. Does anybody have any questions for me? List them again. Yeah, you know, I probably should. Hey, do I got a pen over here? Where's a dry erase pen, babe? Okay. It's Garvolia. Fennel seed? So not really, but it does help. It has shikimic acid in it as well. The benefit to fennel seed also is it also has a mild anti-parasitic in it, so it does help things stay together better. Okay, so it's kind of like a weird binder, but you don't have to use it. You know what I mean? We're talking about a liquid. If we were talking about like a tablet or a capsule, something like that, then we would be more concerned about a binder. I don't care for binders. So as soon as Bobby gets back with a dry erase marker, I'm going to go grab one of them Sharpies in a second, and we'll have a permanent recipe for ivermectin, right? Yes, ma'am. Yes. Always start with Fred. So, like, if you're going to read, I can't go past the speakers. Don't let me go past the speakers. Okay, and it's Ann, right? Ann. Okay. I get you and your sister. If you're not sitting next to each other, I'm calling her, and she was driving by, and I was like, "Hey, Ann." She goes, "No." I'm like, "Damn it." Thank you so much, sweetheart. Okay. There's a speaker there. Hang on. Thank you, Morgan. Sit down. Yeah, probably would be better if it was sideways. If we put it up there, you can write on it. It's speaker guy. There you go. I got you. Okay. It's when Sean walked by the speaker with his palms. Sean. Oh, I thought it was me. No, I'm gonna blame it on you. I'm good with that. It's all your fault. If you missed it, guys, I'm Italian, and I will blame the men all the time. Like it's all their fault. Are we good now? We're good to go, Doc. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Could I get a lighter marker? Like, I don't know if anybody's gonna be able to see this. I feel like I'm guinea pig today. Like, we're gonna find out all the things that don't work right with while I'm up here. I'm good with it. We appreciate you. It's good. No, it's because your fault. It's his fault. It's his fault right there. He's owning it all. It's great. I can't deal with all your problems right now. I have a short window here. Yes, ma'am. This 6 weeks. Yeah. I will say that there's only a few exceptions to that, and that's like if you're doing like burdock root. It takes a lot longer, so I say 8 weeks for burdock root because it don't like to give up its stuff anytime quick. Yes. Two different things. Yeah, two different things. Curly dock is a disinfectant. Thank you. Yes, sir. Ma'am, sorry. So as long as it was dry when you put it in there, you're probably going to want to strain it through a cheesecloth a couple times, but it'll be fine. Yeah, because it'll be sludge at this point. It's just going to be muck. Yeah. I think he forgot about me. Yes. So it's probably about so when it comes to tinctures as adults, okay, we're only talking about adults. Do you think he brought all of them? When it comes to adults, You start with a half a dropper, and if you don't feel like, if you feel like your symptoms are getting worse, then you work up to a full dropper twice a day. And you usually have to take it for about 2 or 3 days before it's just done. You can put them in whatever you want as long as you drink all of whatever you put it in. Okay? Yes, ma'am. Correct. Moonshine. 190, but you're only going to find that in a moonshine. So my husband is, so we're a military family. My husband is Sergeant Major David Wichman, and he's trying to figure out how to make it legal for us to have a still, because, I make tinctures. And the state of Kansas has this really gray area about that. So, yeah, well, no, because I use them to make a product. And so technically we could have a little baby still, but infantry says go big or go home. So my husband's like, you're going to make more tincture, right? Okay, so when you drain all this out, okay, and I'm going to do this, normally I would go rinse this jar out, and then we put it back in the jar, okay? Then it can sit in a cool, dark place forever, like 5 years. I've got tinctures that are older than that. And as long as you strain them good enough, you don't get all that thick sludge in the bottom that can just kind of look gross and start to smell funny after time. Okay, now look, I have a variety. Oh, wait, Ann, come here. I have doctor handwriting, so I'm not sure that everybody wants to see my handwriting. Okay. Thank you, Patrick. Okay, what? Well, I'm sure she'll do really well. It'll be great. Okay, so one thing I want to say about the moonshine thing is moonshine, when you put it in a hot cup of coffee, is not going to dissipate near as fast as like 100 proof alcohol or Everclear, okay? It's going to take a little bit longer. So like you're going to put it in there and you're going to have to stir it and keep that coffee hot for just a little bit longer. Where this, as soon as you put it in anything that's over 90 degrees, all the alcohol is gone. Moonshine is not that quick to do that. The ivermectin. Here, let me write it because I suck at that. And I probably spelled it wrong. So, okay, so I'm putting ivermectin on the board. Just know that that's a trade name, and I can't say that. Okay, so that's somebody owns that name. But this, what I'm telling you, this right here, does the same thing, except it has no binders, has no fillers, no additives or preservatives. Okay, so it's the same thing. IA. Yep. See, she's got good handwriting. It's because she's left-handed. All right. Does anybody have any other questions for me? Everybody understand how to make it? I'm going to do a mansplaining thing here for a second. Does everybody understand how to make a tincture? Yes. Anytime you're making a tincture, 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. They have machines. They say they can do it in 12 hours. But I have one of those Levos. I don't think so. Like I just don't think so. So I'm back to this. The only thing I use that for now is infusing oils. Every day, every month, sweetie. Yeah, that's so. You should always plant on a new moon and harvest on a full moon. Okay. Same thing with tinctures. I start them on new moons. I harvest them on a full moon. So, or I change them out on a full moon. Yeah. I'm a moon child. I do that. I just believe it has a lot to do with what the energy on the planet is too. So like if you harvest your plants in the middle of the afternoon, you're really not doing yourself any favors because that plant may not produce anything else the rest of the year. If you harvest it in the morning, it will keep going, okay? Or if you harvest it late in the evening, it'll keep going. They just, weird things like that. So I follow cycles, make sure everything does what it's supposed to do, and I do, and then I don't forget either, because I have been the person too, who's the lady that said I've had tinctures that I dug out from behind the cabinet and went, oh, that says 2024. Like, yeah, this is probably pretty good now. Yes, ma'am. New moon. Yeah. I don't think so, but look at you being a Vanna White. Thank you. So I do things in parts. So one part, we're just going to say one part is a quarter of a cup, okay? I do everything in one part except for this, okay? Or I'm sorry, except for the star anise, because star anise has like 6 pieces to each star. So when you kind of break them up a little bit, it'll make more, okay? So it's, unless you break it up first, and then everything would be a quarter cup, until you get to your halfway point on your jar. It doesn't really matter on this blend because all of these do the same thing. They all work together. Nothing natural interacts with each other or binds up each other. It all does its own little thing. Even if you took 15 things to clear up the brain fog, okay, or to give you energy, they would all do their own thing. Nobody's stopping another one from doing anything. It's only when you get pharmaceuticals involved does that happen. This is a quiet crowd. Okay. She's stuck on moonshine. I love it. You go for it. So here, wait, I'm gonna. Okay, so time out for a second. Okay, so when you use fresh herbs, you have to fill this jar 2/3 of the way full with herbs. Okay, so you don't get as much tincture out of doing fresh herbs this way. Plus, dry herbs are more concentrated, so you get way more out of your dried herbs than you do out of fresh herbs. So you don't think that drying herbs No. They're not unless they're sitting in the sun. You know what I mean? You don't dry your herbs in the sun. But yeah. Yes, ma'am. I do mine in the morning normally, yes. Why they still got a dew on them usually. Yeah. You look like you got a question over there, big guy. Nice. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. So if you take it to, and I'm telling you, the only thing I do at 100 is mullein, and it's only during cold and flu season when. So like I start cold and flu stuff right now. Like I started in July, so it's ready for now. But now I'll watch what are people coming in with their complaints. As soon as we start getting past, I got a summer cold or I've got a little bit of a cough, and it starts turning into I have bronchitis and I have this, and it's all in the lungs. That's when that 100C mullein comes in. Because it just helps break things up way faster, way easier, so that people can cough it out and feel better. Because if you can't breathe, you're miserable. Yes. No. This is a compound tincture. Most tinctures are one herb, one tincture. Okay. I have a couple that I do compounding with, but I do an ADHD. I have a cold and flu. And then I have another one. What's the other one? What's the other one I have? That's not a tincture though. That's a cider. I have another one. What? Well, I teach an herbalism class once a year. So I've got 6 years of college. So there's bits and pieces floating around in there all the time. Sometimes this takes me a minute longer to find the file in the card catalog so I can recall. Yes. I don't know if this is a point or not, but mechanically speaking, if you ran it to 100, could you then delete it back down to 30 if you wanted to? Like if you needed to make, like, say you're making the batch for a large volume of people, not like professionally, but all the families who've got limited space. Can you rotate it through several times, make it 100, and then dilute it down to hand out? No. It's like once it's there, it's there. If you dilute it down, it'll be like taking a half a dropper instead of a full dropper. Like once you've built it up to that point, you can't just add alcohol and dilute it back down. Yes. 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 Yep. That's exactly right.
Should we get some?
So you fill your jar first time, then we strain it just like we did up here, and then you're going to use this juice to go back in the jar, and then you make another batch. You don't want to add more alcohol, so you want to put your juice back in first, so you can see where it is, so you know how to half it, okay? Because like this may only come up to about here, so you don't want to fill it all the way up because it would dilute the 30C. A what? You're going to have to explain what you're calling a spagyric tincture. Don't look at her. She didn't say it.
Hey, Shannon, this is Todd. Hey, it's 89.7, not 87.9. Yeah, 89.7. Also, he had it turned off by accident.
Oh, you're talking about repurposing the.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye.
So you're really not. There's really not much left in this. Once it's done. I know. Stay away from the speaker.
Oh yeah.
It's his fault. Once this has been sitting at it's dripping. Once this has been sitting for 6 weeks, there's really not a lot of medicinal left in it. There might be some flavor left in there, but not a whole lot of medicinal. Right, but we're talking about these herbs here, not really water soluble. So like you make a tea out of them and you'll get a weird flavor, but there's not a lot of medicinal in it. So in my line of work, once the medicinal's gone, it goes back to nature. Yeah, well, like if I'm making honey, like I infuse honey. So like when I'm done draining out the honey, I have bees that live for me to dump the honey, the elderberries and the cinnamon sticks out there. So like I just give it back to nature. It goes on the ground somewhere because something will eat it or it turns into. I do have 2 flower beds that I compost this way, but there's no medicinal. I shouldn't say none because I'll bet the star anise does still have a little bit, but not enough to make it a tea that would be as good as this. You know, is that what you're getting at there? Okay, yeah. Okay. Yes. So some of them do, okay? Obviously, graviola is a South American plant, okay? You can't really, you can get it greenhouse grown. I don't like that so much because then it's not natural sunlight. It's not natural stuff that's helping it. And a lot of time you get fertilizer chemical in the plants, and I just don't care for that. So I order from Organic Way, and they get theirs harvest from South America. That way I know there's no extras going on there. It's kind of like don't harvest from the roadsides, you know, because they spray. Yeah, yes. So it'll probably half this out again. By the time, so like if I was to turn this into 100C, okay, there would probably be about 4 ounces left when I was done. Does that make better sense to you? Okay. It all depends on how much what herbs you're using and how much they're going to soak up. You know what I mean? So like if you use a leaf, like if you just use mullein tends to take the moisture, also tends to give it back. So like if you take this with mullein and you just wring it out, it'll pretty much dry out the mullein. So different herbs will give you a different quality and in quantity. It all depends. No. So the only thing I will say about presses is that then you have to filter it twice because you're getting all the muck out too, and then you're going to have mud. I'm kind of waiting to see if this is going to settle so I can show you guys. Yeah, so it'll settle and you'll get that fine, like graviola is it just dissolves and turns into like a mush. And so that will go through this, especially if you're squeezing the juice out. But if then you take it and strain it through a new piece of cheesecloth, you'll get that out. Okay. Yes, sir, since you're causing all the trouble today. Organic Whey, W-A-Y. Yeah. Just know that they are a bulk place, so you got to buy things like 2 pounds at a time at least. But keep in mind, I'm a bulk apothecary, guys. So you can always call me up and ask me if I've got it. Yes, ma'am. Good deduction there. So it doesn't really matter. That's why you shake it every day. So like when I'm doing seeds, I legitimately am making a mess right here. So sweet gum seeds will float, okay? Star anise will float. But when I'm doing stuff like this, like I'll tell you to shake it every day, this is literally what I do. And then the next day. And as long as you're just keeping things moving. Now, when you tip it over, if you go in there the next day to flip it over and it's still hung up on the bottom, then you got to shake it. Yeah. But as long as you're getting fluid and getting things to have to move around inside there is all you're looking for. Keep in mind, too, that when you guys do tinctures, the more flat surface you have to work with, the better you're going to have an extraction. So like if you have a bay leaf, you want to crumple that thing up into as many little pieces as possible. Because one big flat surface is not as good as 1,000. Okay. Yes? No, there's no fermentation going on here. Yeah, the alcohol kills it all. Yeah. Anybody else? Yes, sir. So you can take a green. So Skimic acid, so the skimic acid is only in what's considered fertile seeds for the sweet gum, okay? Which means you have to be able to tell which seeds are fertile. You can't do that in a green ball. So I let them dry and I shake them around in a 5-gallon bucket until they all start opening up these little holes and all the seeds come out. Then I got all the seeds. If they're tan or a light brown, they're infertile seeds. If they're dark, you don't want them. But you don't usually get a lot of dark seeds out of a sweet gum. Like, you just don't. You tend to get what you need to get. Anything else? No? Okay. I was going to bring the stupid sweet gums with me, too. So when you find them on the ground, look at them. If they've got holes in them, the birds have already gotten to them. Okay? The birds will eat those things like crazy because guess what they prevent, guys? The bird flu. So then the birds know it. So the birds will peck out the hundreds of little seeds in each ball, and that's usually when those things fall off, is after the birds have been in there pecking away. The best way to get sweet gum balls is to find somebody that had a windstorm that came through because they're the biggest wuss trees there is, and they'll break a branch every time, and you just go harvest them off the branch. Yeah, so sweet gum trees grow really close to the surface. Their roots don't ever go more than 3 foot in the ground, which makes them very top heavy. You know what I mean? So like when you go scurrying up in the tree, I would make sure you're paying attention to which side of the tree is heavier, because believe it or not, a silly 100 extra pounds could cause a branch to break or the tree to literally fall over. So we don't want you to get hurt. Though that would be a great story for next year. While I was on my adventure, yeah. So sweet gums, they don't have to be ripe. They don't have to be ripe. You just have to get them when they're about this big. If they're bigger than the size of a quarter, they can be dried and there's seeds in there. The birds won't even mess with, and you won't even notice them until they're about the size of a quarter. Otherwise, they're like just these little bitty things. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. No more moonshine. Like, yes. I said they're better than Everclear, but you said moonshine, but that's okay. We'll go with it. I recommend you dry everything. Everything. Because you can preserve it, you can store it, okay? And it concentrates. So I think dandelion is like the only thing that doesn't concentrate in the leaves and stuff. When you dry it, it just stays the same. But dandelion leaves are gross. So yeah, they're gross. But they got a butt ton of calcium in them. Yeah. Yes, yes. I throw mine through a food processor real quick just to get them into. Has anybody ever made horseradish? Are you kidding me right now? What kind of preppers are you? Okay. Okay. So young lady over here going, these dumbasses don't know. When you make horseradish, you know how you got to get it processed and get it right in the vinegar or you're going to be on fire, right? So if you process the roots and the bark the same way, like you just run it through there really quick just to chop it up a little bit, then I spread it out on a piece of parchment, and I have a dehydrator in my oven. So like I just stick the little spoon in there and go about my day. But I used to use the smoker. My husband's smoker. He would set it up so it was like at about 120 degrees, and then I had roasted or smoked. That's a stick. Your wooden spoon holds the door open about that far. I don't even think you need the fan. Yeah, as long as you've got that little bit of the door open and the wooden spoon handle is like perfect. And it just lets enough air out, keeps it right at about 140 in there all the time. Yeah. Yes. So I pay somebody to do that because I don't have a freeze dryer. Well, then we're going to become friends. You can freeze dry anything, yes. So, like, I only use freeze dried fruit for my teas, okay? Because freeze dried, like you should know, gets 100% of the moisture out, and it retains 100% of its value. Dehydrating is about 70% of the moisture, and it loses stuff, okay? So, especially in fruit. I'm only talking about fruit. It loses a lot of its bounce back value when you dehydrate. When you freeze dry, it loses none. Like you get a freeze dried apple, you put it in some water, and it's an apple. It wouldn't hurt anything. Like I just feel like that would be an enormous waste of the freeze dryer. You could dry them and store them later on. Yeah, so like because of the amount of time and energy it takes to freeze dry, I would say just lay them out on a thing and let God and nature take care of it. Like I have a shed that I have these mesh racks. There's like 6 layers in it, and I just load those things up. And once a day, I go out there and pop the bottom of them and flip them around, and they do great. You just got to keep them out of the sun. And they don't like to be moist. So like when it rains, I just have to squish them down and put them somewhere else. But they do really well just drying on their own. Freeze drying is more for like fruits, some vegetables, things like that you can, because once you freeze dry them, they're good for like 20 years or something ridiculous. Yeah. So my biggest thing is they retain all their nutrition, all their medicinal value. Dehydrating fruits does not. You lose a stupid amount of stuff in there. Anybody else? I can talk all day, so go ahead. Why? No, that's why we're here. Me too. Oh, so she didn't mean late today. She meant late to the party. Okay, so. Yeah, so I'm not sure where you were 5 minutes ago when I said if you put it in something hot, it's gone. Yeah, so like if you put it in your morning coffee or your morning tea, okay, as long as it's just a regular alcohol and not her monster moonshine, it, I'm just going to give you grief today now because I'm going to find out where you're getting all this moonshine. Okay, well, we're going to be friends too. So as long as it's just 100 proof alcohol or Everclear, which is like, what is Everclear? Like 120? Yeah. So as soon as you put it in anything over 90 degrees, all the alcohol is gone. So if that's an issue, so there is a glycerin option, but I am a firm believer that glycerin's for children. You would have to take so much of it to get the same result as you would out of an alcohol base. It's ridiculous. And glycerins are usually more expensive because they're harder to make. They take forever. You can't use powders in them. It's just, you'd be all right there, Jamie. Look at me getting it right now because you're both standing right here. Yeah. Shame on me. So did that answer your question? Hot cocoa is different than coffee. It doesn't get as hot. So, and we're also talking about schnapps, where the flavor is not gone, and I'll bet the schnapps went in at almost a room temperature. We're talking about Germany, so it's probably at room temperature because it's like telling an Irishman, I need a cup of Irish coffee. They're gonna let that thing cool off to a nice temperature, and then they're gonna add their Baileys. You know what I mean? Then they're gonna add it because they want the alcohol. So it's all about getting it under 90 degrees. You can't drink anything that's 90 degrees. You might be able to tolerate something that's about 75. Okay? Otherwise, you're going to be burning your palate. No. No. Fahrenheit. Uh-huh. If I open this jar right now and just leave it sit here, by the end of the day, it'll be half as much. It's 80 degrees outside. You know what I mean? So evaporation is a real thing, just like gravity. I find out every day. I keep thinking it's not going to be there. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So alcohol evaporates at a pretty fast rate. And the only thing that would slow this down is the pure amount of flavonoid and other medicinal value from the herbs. Yes? Yeah, you could. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Until it, like, literally an alcohol tincture is good until the muck starts to smell funny. Like if you don't strain it out good enough, you'll get mud in the bottom of your jar. Or it evaporates out. Like even in a screwed on top, even in a tight bottle, alcohol will evaporate. It just does. Yeah. So, and then every time you open it, you're adding air to it again, which allows for more evaporation. So, yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, that's a whole giant mechanism that they have to do that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm still curious as to what he was talking about. What's that gentleman's name right there in the corner? Chris. Okay, so help me understand how you want. Why do you want to boil alcohol? Right. 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 Yeah. But that's only, those numbers only apply when you're adding heat to the process. Yes. Well, I might have been a little exaggerated, but I know that like when I put this into 1 ounce bottles, after they've been on the shelf for a month, Cheyenne has to then go through and top off all those bottles. Even though nobody's opened them, nothing, and they're in amber bottles, it just continues to evaporate. They are airtight, but they just continue to slowly evaporate a little bit at a time. And then once they get below a certain line, then Cheyenne's got to go in there and top them off. But that's a cold process. Like you're talking about a heat process. Cold process is a little slower, a little less, but it does still happen. It's like it's just constantly happening. Like just this in this jar, all this air will allow for evaporation in here. Will allow for the gassing, for the gas off to happen in the jar to a point because there's a pocket of air. It would evaporate way slower. Yes. Yeah, way slower. Because you would then be removing any air that was in there. The problem is the air. Like you can't fill amber bottles all the way to the top, so you always have that little bit of a neck, and that's where the evaporation happens. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so I was going to tell her this too. So you have other bases that you can use. You have glycerin, which is great, again, for kids. It's great for kids. It's a giant process, but it does do a children's dosing really well. Then there's apple cider vinegar that you can use as a base for anything that you would use as an alcohol base. Apple cider vinegar can take 6 to 8 weeks, though, to produce the same thing because it's not as well. It doesn't deteriorate near as fast as alcohol does. Does that help? Yeah. Okay. If you have any other questions, I'm over there. You can just stop by and talk to me. Yes, ma'am. Way in the back. No. Doesn't mean you have to throw it out. My thing is like, so when you use a fresh herb, mulleine's a bad example though. Like, yeah, no, you did it in alcohol, right? Yeah, no, it's going to be fine, except I just feel like it won't be as strong as a dried herb would have allowed. Does that mean? No. And just make sure you strain it out good. What did you use for a base? Okay, yeah, no. And mullein doesn't carry things like that. So like it doesn't have a lot of moisture in it to start. It has a lot of fluff, but it doesn't have a lot of moisture in it to start. Yes, ma'am. Wild lettuce. How did your tincture turn out? Oh. Foraging class? The foraging class? Oh, okay, yeah. So here's the only, like, I'd be curious to see how it turns out. Because I feel like you'll get a tincture out of it. But wild lettuce is meant to, you harvest it, you process it the same day. Like, I've seen people dry it, and it's a latex. So once the latex dries out, you can't really rehydrate it very well. It kind of spins out on its own. So if you harvest it and you chop it all up, and then you're supposed to cook it down. And that's how you get your what amounts to a paste after that. But I'd be curious to see how that turns out. I would actually say if it doesn't turn out as well, you might just throw some California poppy in there. And it would probably boost it right back up. When you get home, take that liquid and pour it in a Dutch oven pan and just put it on a low heat and just cook it down and cook it down. I guarantee you, if you put this much liquid in, you're going to get this much wild lettuce tincture out of it. You don't get much. It takes 65 plants to do 3.5 ounces of tincture. Yeah. It's not, but remember how we talked about, I don't know, is anybody here, did anybody come to my foraging class or one of my, okay. So remember how we talked about your job isn't to take care of the whole community. Your job is to take care of your family, okay? So if you're making wild lettuce just for your family, then you do a giant pot. Like I get the stock pot out and I cook it down. When it gets down to about this much, then I take it in the house and do it on the stove. But I make wild lettuce for 100 people. You just need to make it for 4. You know what I mean?
Out of that 3.5 ounces of those 65 plants, how much is needed to dose and how often?
So wild lettuce is really a tiny amount. You can either put it in a capsule and swallow a capsule, or you can just dose it. And it literally is like just like a really kind of not quite tar, a little thinner than a tar. So you just take a little, yeah. So you just take a little tiny bit, like 1/8 of a teaspoon, and then you're gonna have to wash that down because wild lettuce is bitter. It's bitter.
3.5 ounces is when you go farther than it sounds.
Right. Right. I'm just saying 65, it takes 65 plants, a big decent plant to make 3.5 ounces. Yes. So like I would say if like for your family, start with 20 plants and see where you get with it. You know what I mean? Because this wild lettuce isn't something you should take every day anyways. It's only for when you have major pain. Yeah, boss. Wild lettuce is a natural painkiller. So it has the same kind of effects as opium without the opium high. It affects the same neurotransmitters. Yeah, it's called the morphine plant, but yeah, opium, morphine. I love you, Tim. Yes, ma'am. New one. Let's go. So I originally start mine with water. The only alcohol that goes into mine is like to rinse out the blender, to get it out of the blender because it's the latex. So water's not going to really clean out the blender. You need some alcohol in there to clean that out. But as soon as you start cooking it, like you don't want it to boil, you want it to simmer. And then you just got to stay after it. Like that's a sit and stir all day kind of thing. You got grandkids? Do you have grandkids? Okay, that's a good job for them. Yeah, but you can walk away from the tomatoes. You can't really walk away from the wild lettuce for very long because otherwise it just starts sticking to the bottom. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. I would try it first. Try it first. But remember, like, guys, I'm not about preventative pain, okay? If you don't hurt, don't take anything. If you do hurt, then find something to take. But we are a society of, I'm going to take a pill just in case. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I might have allergies today, so I'm going to take my allergy medicine every day. And then you never know if your allergies are getting better or worse or any of that stuff. So I'm not a preemptive kind of person, unless you have a chronic problem that is a chronic problem. Probably because it was, yeah, it does. So what I would tell you to do is take that tincture and as much alcohol as you're putting in the pot, put that much distilled water in there and then cook it because the alcohol is going to cook off really quick. Okay. You don't want it scorching on the bottom because the alcohol burns off so much faster than water. And then just, yeah. And when it gets to a strap molasses kind of where you can pick it up and it doesn't just fall off the spoon, but it kind of just runs, then that's when you're done. If you cook it too much more, it's literally going to become balls of tar. And then you can't dose it out right. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Either one. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whether to use first or second year mullein. Nope. Mullein has a 2-year life cycle. It does once, and it does twice, and it's done. It won't come back again. So like if you find a giant patch of mullein and you go in there and harvest it, If nothing's there the next year, it's because it was all second year mullein. It does, yes, but wind, birds, you know what I mean? It'll move. Yeah, it'll be, you just got to go probably another quarter of a mile away and you'll find all your mullein again. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Wild lettuce has yellow flowers on it. Or I'm sorry, wild mullein has yellow flowers on it. Wild lettuce has white flowers on it. White flowers on the top. They look like little tiny dandelion things on the top. So the biggest way to tell the difference between what looks like wild lettuce and wild lettuce is flip the leaf over. If there's a barbed spine on the back, that's wild lettuce. I think prickly lettuce, wild lettuce, opium lettuce, it's all the same thing. Difference is there's several plants that have the same ragged edged leaves and they grow tall. Right. Did you boil it? The only thing I've ever noticed is if you get wild lettuce too hot is it gets super bitter. Like just bitter. You just might not have enough wild lettuce in it. But again, sometimes you have to add like a California poppy or another pain relieving plant agent. You know what I mean? It's not everybody, wild lettuce doesn't, everybody's different. Everyone is different. So like ibuprofen might work for you, but you might need a leave. You know, it's just totally different things. So you might need something else, but it also depends on like what were you looking for it, what pain were you looking for it to address? Yeah, I don't think that's going to work that way. No, I don't think. You'd have to mix it with like DMSO for it to work that way. Otherwise, it's a tincture. That might be why you didn't get what you wanted out of it. No, then that is the tincture. Yes, because it's a water-soluble thing. So it's still a tincture. You can make a tincture out of alcohol, water, glycerin, apple cider vinegar. Like it all depends on what your base is and how you want it to be extracted. Like, so if you don't like alcohol, you're going to want to try like apple cider vinegar, or you're going to want, but there's not a lot of water soluble plants that you can make a tincture out of. Most of them are mushrooms. So, but mushrooms have to be processed through alcohol, and then you throw the alcohol away and you keep that, like he was talking about the leftovers, you let that dry out and then you soak it in water, and that's a tincture from mushrooms. But to me, it's dumb, just eat the mushroom. This just is like a lot of work to just eat a mushroom. Anybody? Yes, ma'am. So avocado seeds, you can't just leave them like, have you ever tried to break one of those things? Like I got to get out there with my grandson and give him the hammer so that he can crush them up. Okay. Cause they're super hard. Once you get them open though, that's the mulch that's in it, the soft spot in the very middle is where the goodness is at. And it makes a good tincture, but avocado seed, again, does different things for different people. I will say this, that if you have rheumatoid arthritis or an autoimmune disease, you really don't want to do that. Like it'll flare up the autoimmune just because it's an avocado seed, and it does. It kind of gets things fired off. Yeah, I wouldn't take anything in rubbing alcohol. Yeah, it sounds like crap to me. I don't know, if you see it on Facebook, it's probably crap, okay? Yeah, but I don't do stuff like that. Like I'm like the girl that does my Facebook page literally picks an herb and goes, look what this herb can do. I am, if you come in you've been in the store, I have a whole lot of single herb things. I don't believe in mixing herbs unless you're compounding for a specific purpose, like adaptogenic herbs. So like if you need to balance your serotonin and your dopamine, or you got a cortisol overload, then you want both rhodiola rosea and ashwagandha in there, okay? Because one does one thing, one does the other. This, you got to have more than one thing, or you don't get enough ischemic acid, okay? Well, that's a lie. You just 30C it, but I like to compound it so you get a bunch of different types of ischemic acid, and it works better together. Pain is a weird thing, though. You got to find out what's causing the pain. So, like, I don't know if any of you guys know what a naturopath does, but I signed an oath. Doctors don't sign oaths anymore. They sign creeds that say, I will treat the symptoms to the best of my ability. Mine says an oath, and it says, I will find the fundamental cause for the problem. Okay? So when you come to see me, that's why I spend an hour talking to you, because it usually takes 45 minutes to find out you had a car accident 6 months ago, and that's why you hurt. Okay? So, but people don't realize what's important. They just go, my back hurts, my back hurts. Why? I don't know. So you got to find out why. Normally, pain is caused from one of two things, either an injury or inflammation. Okay? Yes, ma'am? Rhodiola rosea and ashwagandha. Rhodiola rosea. I'm going. Does everybody have this? No. Who said no? Oh. I don't care.
I got y'all. I'm not afraid of that word. I can white it out with my marker.
I do, but it's not called ivermectin. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, can I erase this now? Okay.
We probably have time for one or two more questions.
Oh, thank you.
And then we'll wrap it up so we can reset to the next class coming up in a little bit.
Okay. These two things are called adaptogenic herbs. Okay, which means this handles the serotonin in your brain. This handles the dopamine in your brain. You get cortisol overloads because one is out of balance. So like if you have kids that have ADHD and you know how they throw Adderall at them, that just dumps dopamine in there. Okay. So what happens is later on, they just have a dopamine crash because there's no balance. So Adderall will work, but you got to keep their serotonin balanced out, or they're going to end up with insomnia. And no melatonin.
Thank you.
Melatonin is natural, but if you take it for too long, your brain does not know organic from non-organic. And if you keep putting it in your body, your brain will stop producing it. They do if you stick them with a stupid high dose. Okay, but then you're causing insomnia later on. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you that you and your mom and I should probably have a conversation separate, because you have a lot of moving parts in your stuff. And it's not as simple as what you're saying, but we will have a conversation. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Because I think Bobby's going to throw me out of here.
Well, you can stay. They got to go.
You don't got to go home, but you can't stay here, kind of thing.
Do we have any last comments or questions for Tracy before we reset the stage area?
Right over there.
That's where we're going to go. How about that question? How can people find out more information about you?
Oh yeah. So
Self-promotion.
right now I have a website. It's ksnotions.com. Or you can call. I got a banner over there that's got all the information.
Where can they find your banner? Where can they find you today?
Right there. Right there.
There's a blue top
Blue
tent
top
at the very edge of
candy.
vendor row, and she's only here for today. So
Yeah,
mug
unfortunately.
her.
But you can call and stop in any day but Mondays and Thursdays. Thursdays I am normally doing home visits, and then Mondays are my consultation days. I do have an in-house herbalist now. Her name is Cheyenne. She is she's my tism child. Like she got the tism. I'm going to tell you what. Probably half the people in here have tism. They just don't. They just know how to deal with it a little better than you're able to deal with it right now. I have the tism. Watch me go.
All right, so you know where to find her. Don't forget this will be on our YouTube channel as well, so you'll be able to go back and watch this anytime you'd like. We're not monetized, so we're not getting off for her saying words. We don't do it that way. So anyway, Tracy, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. Everyone give it up for Tracy Wichman, Dr. Tracy Wichman. Go see her at the tent. Next class will be
Ow, that hurt.
AJ Honey Farm with beekeeping in Kansas here at 3 o'clock. See us then.
Patrick, who's with you? Okay, I'm gonna leave them here. These were my myself. My day to die. Oh wow, it's a little scary out there. I have to be about